Hello and welcome. This will be another hacking quiz. You guys seem to love it last time, so let's continue. The game is, I show you a picture, you tell me how to hack it, and if you don't know, I will tell you. Let's get started. Number 1. So we can see an Nmap output right here of the host. My question to you is, what type of machine is this, and does any of these ports look interesting to you? Is there anything here that stands out? What do you think? The most noteworthy to me is the fact that we can see immediately that port 88 is open. So this immediately tells us that this is Kerbrute, right? And Kerbrute is a port that is open only on the domain controller. So we immediately know that this is a domain controller again. We can also see ports like 636 and 389 and 3269 and 3268. So these are LDAP, also indicating this is a domain controller. So we immediately know that if this is a standalone machine, this is a domain controller where you can do attacks related to Active Directory and Kerbrute, right? If this is on the OSCP exam, we know that, okay, this is the domain controller. This is where we have to query LDAP and Kerbrute requests, etc. And it's just good to know that, okay, this is a part of a Active Directory domain, and that's very good to know, right? Another thing that stands out to me is the fact that port 80 is open, which increases the attack vector. This is not necessarily default at all from a domain controller, so this can be interesting, but it doesn't really change the methodology. We would like to enumerate as much as we can regardless. We can see that WinRM is open as well, right? That could be very interesting. Other than that, not too much interesting stuff. DNS is open, RPC is open. We can see that 139.445, that's SMB, LDAP once again, and a WinRM, and then some default uninteresting ports like KPass for the Kerbrute stuff, and then default high ports that we could enumerate these further to see if there's anything, but most likely just high useless RPC ports. So yeah, nothing here is super interesting other than the fact that 1, it's a domain controller, and 2, this has a website on it. Let's continue. Now, what do you think about this? Is this interesting? Is anything here of value, or is this just a waste of time? What do you think? I would say this could be valuable, right? We could see that we are on a single .html site right here, but more importantly, we can see some potential usernames, right? Like Johnson and Watson. Even a thing on the right side, like posts being made by admin. If this is the website that has some form of login field, then we could consider spraying these credentials, right? So again, some login form like Johnson, Watson, admin, right? So that could be useful. Another thing to highly consider, once again, assuming this is a Active Directory machine, right? Which in this case it is. These are potential usernames that we can use to try to find the initial set of credentials, right? Because in a lot of Hack the Box and Try Hack Me standalone machines, right, unlike the OSCP exams or the Active Directory chains that we've made, right, to prepare people for the Active Directory section of the exam, we don't really know all of the usernames that can be used in Active Directory. So we can use tools like Kerbrute, etc., to try to enumerate these and to see if these are valid usernames, right? So that to me, that is the most interesting here, and nothing really else stands out, but that could be interesting, right? It's worth a shot. Now, what about this scenario? What do you think here? Is it similar? Is it different? Like, what do you think about this output? What's your thoughts? To be completely honest, for me, it's the exact same, right? These are just potential usernames that we can try to utilize Kerbrute in an Active Directory scenario to try to enumerate and find all of the users. Once again, if this is on the exam, you already have initial set of credentials and you can easily get all of the domain users of the domain. So that is not an issue at all in an Active Directory chain, right, or in our labs. But for a standalone, this can be extremely useful, right? Since we don't have an initial set of credentials again. So let's continue. So, do you know what I'm doing right here? If so, just, yeah, what do you think? Do you know what I'm doing here? Well, in this scenario, I'm essentially just taking the different usernames that we gathered over time on this website, and then I'm using a tool that generates different variations of these usernames, right? So we can see Hugo Smith, Hugo.Smith, Smith Hugo, etc. Just as an example. And this is useful so that when we try to use a tool like Kerbrute, as we can see right here, it actually found a variation, which is H Smith, right? And also F Smith at the domain, which is in this case the egoistical bank.local. So yeah, we actually found now valid domain users, and we know that the usernames that we haven't checked with Kerbrute, right? Or the usernames, like all of these might not be valid, right? So that's useful to know, because then we actually know that we have valid usernames. So what about this scenario right here? What type of output are we looking at? And yeah, what is this? What do you think? In this scenario, we are essentially taking the usernames that we count, and we're checking for ASREP roasting. You can see it right there, KRB5 ASREP. So we can see that it reveals what type of hash type it is right here, ASREP. We can also see that it's for the user fsmith and then at egoisticalbank.local. And here is the hash, right? So that's what we're doing right here. We're performing ASREP roasting, very useful. You don't actually need to have a password to be able to perform this attack. So it's incredibly useful, especially in CTFs, but it's a very valid attack as well on the OSCP exam. So my question to you is, now that we have this hash, what can we do with it, right? Can we relay it? Can we do pass the hash? Or like, what can we do with this hash? What's our next step from here? What do you think? Our next step definitely would be to crack it, right? So this is not a NTLM hash, this is a ASREP hash, and this is not the hash that we can relay, right? It's not like in Meta NTLM v2 hash that we can potentially relay, and it's not an MTLM hash that we can perform attacks like pass the hash or simply just not needing to crack the password, right? Over various protocols like SCP, VNRM, MS-SQL, etc. Now, if you have an NTLM hash and you want to authenticate over RDP, typically you do actually have to crack it first before you do that. RDP technically allows pass the hash, but in a lot of scenarios, they don't actually allow it as a policy, right? So it's not as reliable compared to doing pass the hash over other protocols like VNRM and SCP. But yeah, that's not fully for this video. So we can see that obviously we need to crack it, right? And we managed to get this password right here for fsmith. So that's awesome. So what do we do now, right? Obviously our attack surface has increased. So what would we do in this scenario? What do you think? To be honest, it really depends, right? This is one section of my notes that people can utilize to essentially get some basic methodology in terms of what to follow, right? It's just like a little checklist. It's one of the many checklists that we offer. And it's really just to keep yourself organized. I'm not claiming that it covers absolutely everything, but it's mainly just something I made for beginners to make sure that you have a methodology and you haven't forgotten about something, right? Because let's say you got a new user, right? And you've already enumerated the shares for the previous user, but you haven't checked if any of the shares now becomes writable, right? Because that can open up new attacks. And if you forgot to recheck the SMB shares for the new credentials, that could be an attack path you missed, right? Or if you forgot to check for certificate-based attacks, that could be an attack path you missed, etc., 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 right? So it was a bit of a misleading question in terms of what to do next, because there's so many things that we can do next, and I really recommend checking all of these things and potentially more. Okay, so let's continue. We see this output right here. These are all of the owned objects, aka all of the users that we now in this scenario have gotten access to, right? As we're doing this machine. The fsmith, the service loan manager, and the hsmith. Obviously, I haven't shown all of that in this video, but this is just scenario-based quiz videos. So based on this output right here, is anything here interesting? We're essentially looking for shortest path from owned objects. That's a query that you can make right here in the pre-made cipher queries in Bloodhound. Is anything here interesting, or do you think this is like boring and nothing here looks interesting? What do you think? Well, for the most part, what this is mainly showing us is just the fact that these users are a member of these different groups, right? So we can see that service loan managers are part of the remote management users, which means that we can WinRM into the domain controller. That is interesting, I suppose, right? That's noteworthy, but we've already done that, and we already have access to this user, and I haven't shown in this video, but yeah, this part could be interesting. The fact that they're part of the domain users, like, we already know that, who cares, it doesn't really matter. But the thing that really looks interesting is the fact that, if you pay close attention, is that we have selected loan manager right there. And if you can see at the bottom right there, it has an outbound object control. So that is always interesting. That means that it can perform some action over some object in the domain. And those can be quite interesting depending on what it is. So we can see that it actually has the get changes all over the domain, the service loan manager. So this is the outbound object control that it essentially has, the get changes all or get changes. And based on this output right here, do you know what type of attack that we can do and what that entails? Like, what will happen now? What do you think? Well, in this scenario, we can see that we have the Linux abuse because of the get changes all permission, and we can essentially perform an attack called secret stump. This user right here, they're not necessarily a domain admin or whatever, but they have the rights to be able, because of the outbound object control, to be able to perform secret stump. So this essentially allows us to dump all of the hashes of all of the users of the entire domain, and this is very beautiful stuff. This should get you excited. So we can see right here, we're performing secret stump, and all of the users in this domain is essentially getting down. There's not a lot of users, right? But we can see H Smith, F Smith, service loan manager, admin, and then guessing, yeah. But yeah, this is absolutely beautiful stuff. And if you manage to perform this attack, it's pretty much GG. You can access whatever you want in the domain. And yeah, that's the video. I really hope you liked it. And if you find this video useful, then you're absolutely gonna love this. We have a massive, free-to-try, 25-hour plus OSCP course that you can see that people are just absolutely loving. That inside gives you all of the resources that you need to crush the OSCP. We have a massive roadmap that literally covers everything. We cover initial access, privilege escalation, Windows and Linux. We cover Active Directory. We cover post-exploitation. We cover lateral movement. We cover pivoting, tunneling. We cover the exam. We cover the reporting. We cover all of the attacks that you need and all of the techniques that you need for OSCP. We also cover all the rooms that you need to do and all of the rooms is linked inside. We cover Active Directory chains as well. And we literally cover everything. And you will instantly get all of these resources once you join. So click the link down below, try it completely for free. I'll see you inside.